Antifa sides with the quote-unquote Fascist Gov, and I catch them lying again. A few times.
Gotcha, bitch!
Oh, Tabby.
What?
We have some surprises in this video. I think 3 or 4 little gotchas. A couple of these.
Gotcha, bitch!
What you're seeing right now is the webpage version of this video. It's the written report version, which is pretty short, a lot shorter than this video, and it has all the sources listed and linked at the bottom. These are also included in our webpage, American Liberty versus the Gov's Tyrannical Shutdown under May 2nd. But that webpage is very long, so if you want to just see what's in this video, see the first link, if not, see the second.
In a battle, you better pray for help. Straight up and down, so don't even play yourself. In a battle, you better pray for help.
Oh, guess what, Tabby?
Huh.
It's going down. Antifa's largest propaganda outlet just blocked me. Alright, I think I'm gonna call this Antifa Sides with the quote-unquote fascist, imperialist, capitalist American government against freedom. Alrighty, folks. You may have seen this tweet going around by It's Going Down, where they write, quote, the nurses held fast while the Trumpers attempted to push their vehicles through the line and repeatedly brandished shotguns and rifles at them. One Trumper used the shotgun as a flagpole, another shouted, quote, I have a gun, unquote, at nurses while waving his AR, unquote. And then they attached to one of their propaganda pieces, which we'll look at here. But you already get the idea, Tabby, of where they're going with this. They're basically saying these people who are protesting against the lockdown are bad fascist people.
Yeah.
Right? But what are they protesting? They are protesting limits on freedom. They are literally taking the libertarian stance, which is literally the polar opposite of fascism. Okay? And it's going down, which, if you don't know, folks, is arguably Antifa's largest propaganda outlet. I think Indie Bay is smaller. They are literally taking the opposing stance to these libertarians, who are taking the opposing stance to fascism, quote-unquote. You know, by which we mean ultra-authoritarianism. We mean that in a colloquial sense. There's fascism literally. There's fascism, the slang term fascism, which just means somebody who's dictatorial, very authoritarian. And it could be a person, like a strict parent or whatever. But in this case, they are literally taking the same side of the government that they claim is fascist in order to oppose the libertarians who are the opposite of fascists. So the article is titled, St. Paul, Minnesota. Community mobilizes to back up nurses facing down far-right, quote, reopen, unquote, protesters. With quotes around reopen. So they're basically saying, you're probably going to say it's not about freedom for them, it's about Trump Nazism or something like that, right? And we'll get back to this. So, I know a person on Twitter who goes by JT, at No One Special anyway, and they replied to It's Going Down with, these so-called, quote-unquote, anti-fascists are literally siding with the imperialist capitalist empire's government against those who are protesting for freedom, and they are not even trying to hide it. They are proud of it. They are the fascists. It's so obvious. It's Going Down blocked JT. Actually replied first, and then they blocked JT. So they wanted to get a parting shot in, but they didn't want JT to reply to it or see it. But they responded with, okay, I'm going to read it for the first time here. Standing in solidarity with working class people. Well, hold on.
Who'd you talking about?
Standing in solidarity with working class people.
Slow down.
Well, hold on. You hate working class people. You're against the working class people who are protesting for the right to go back to work, among other things. You clowns! You hate the working class people. You call them Nazis. Standing in solidarity with working class people who are at work against people flying Nazi flags.
What the hell did you just say?
Again, they're calling the Kekistani flag a Nazi flag. And point guns at them. Equals, quote-unquote, fascism. Gotcha! And they write it in that way. It's supposed to look sort of art. They are making fun of mentally handicapped people by writing gotcha in that way. Yeah. They are such hypocrites. Anyway, so... Now, I've read every one of these articles, watched every one of these videos, a few hours worth, so I have a pretty good idea of what was reported and what you could see from the helicopters and from left-wing video sources, corporate media sources, etc. And there are some things that Antifa leaves out in their propaganda piece. They more or less say that the lockdown protesters were intimidating nurses with their guns. Apparently, it's actually the Antifa people who might have used a gun to intimidate someone. A reporter, as we'll see. Oh, it's funny when you just scratch the surface of these things, you find some pretty ironic surprises. Oh, we'll read this article. Report from Workers' Defense Alliance.
What you talking about?
So, they're not defending the workers in this situation. I mean, yeah, nurses work too. Okay, but you're just basically choosing some workers to defend and basically being against most of them. Because you're mostly against the people, you call Nazis. Those are working class people. Report from Workers' Defense Alliance out of the Twin Cities, Minnesota, about a recent community defense action in support of nurses and frontline medical staff standing up to far-right, quote-unquote, reopen demonstrators. Yeah, because they're basically saying, no, they want to be Nazis. They just want to scare people with their guns and their Kekistani, their Nazi flags.
They just want to defend our rights. God damn them.
Right?
God damn them. Right to hell for doing the right thing.
They continue, it's going down, continues. On Saturday, members of the Workers' Defense Alliance joined rank-and-file nurses and healthcare workers in defending the Bethesda and other St. Paul hospitals from the quote-unquote back-to-work Trumpers of the Flu Klux Klan. That's actually kind of funny. Flu Klux Klan. Nurses at Bethesda, if I'm saying that correctly, took the intersection at Sherburne and Park to break a Trumper blockade that was obstructing ambulance traffic into the emergency room. Now, if that is true that they were blocking the traffic, that's not okay. I looked at it, and I'm trying to find where the emergency room entrance would be. I didn't see it. I looked and looked and looked from Google Maps and etc. Videos, all different angles. Wasn't seeing it. So I called to ask them where it was, and here's the phone call. Calling Fairview Bethesda Hospital, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Health Fairview. May I help you?
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me where your emergency ambulance entrance is located?
I'm not in the building. I'm going to ring you over there. Hold on.
Thank you.
I'll ring it to the security guard because I don't know where it is. Hold on.
Thank you.
Terry speaking.
Yes, sir. Hi. Can you tell me where your emergency entrance is located there?
We don't have an we don't have an emergency entrance here, sir.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
And there you go. So, it's going down, you were caught in yet another lie.
Not bad.
Uh-huh. So, it does seem as if the convoy was blocking that hospital. However, as we heard, folks, there's no emergency there. Alrighty. And so we're just going to go down here to where it says the nurses held fast while Trumpers attempted to push their vehicles through the line and repeatedly brandished shotguns and rifles at them. One Trumper used the shotgun as a flagpole, another shouted, "I have a gun," at nurses waving his AR. I've seen no evidence of that, no mention of anything like that in any news report, written or broadcasted locally and all that. But there was this. This is tweeted from Kyle Hooton, who is he writes for the Daily Caller, and he tweeted, "I just got done covering a protest at the Minnesota Capitol building." This was tweeted at 5:05 p.m. on May 2nd. "I'm sitting in my car around the corner, trying to figure out what to do next, and some left-wing guy, okay, with a gun, walks up to me to make sure I'm not a, quote, scout, unquote, for the, quote, hardcore fascist groups, unquote."
My God.
Okay. So then he also has this. "Apparently he's a member of a, quote, local workers' defense group," unquote. Remember, that's mentioned in the It's Going Down article. So it's Antifa. "That opposes the conservative protesters who are outside the Capitol today." And then you can see here's a photo of them apparently on the other side of the Capitol.
Gotcha, bitch.
A report, this guy's word holds more weight than It's Going Down, because It's Going Down lie consistently. And as far as I've ever fact-checked the Daily Caller, they've never actually been wrong as far as I've seen. Not that I check them extensively, but if I'm, I have that habit. And so as far as I've seen, yep. Now, we have this article here by Alpha News. "Minnesotans rallied outside their state capital Saturday to protest Governor Tim Walz's economic shutdown orders. Minnesotans turned out in full force in front of Minnesota Capitol on Saturday. Meanwhile, an armed left-wing group congregated nearby." All right, now we have obviously a Trump supporter with his gun and his, that's some sort of Christian flag and the American flag. Down here, the article says, about a dozen members of a self-described workers' defense group also gathered in a nearby park on the other side of the state capitol. One member of this group told an Alpha News reporter they had congregated to protect a nearby hospital in case the conservative protesters, which the man characterized as fascist, decided to attack it. And then here we see that tweet that we just read. Okay. Now, I want people to know that it's not let's not stereotype nurses. Not every nurse is going along with the WHO narrative, the CDC narrative, and etc. So here's an example. Apparently, I can't prove this is a nurse, so take this with a grain of salt, but apparently this woman is a nurse.
We're out here today to show Governor Walz that we're not okay with him taking away our freedoms. Medical issues can be dealt with without removing our freedoms. That is how it's always been done. This is not necessary.
So we have this video here by Kare, K-A-R-E 11. This is a helicopter video. Here you can see the convoy. This is extending north in the direction of the Bethesda Hospital. See right there, right where they're turning around. It is a little bit in front of the hospital there. It's kind of right at that intersection. Again, there is no emergency room there, but it's not okay to block it. So I guess these people are like, oh shit, hospital, let's turn around. And you can see some nurses out here and there. And then later on, they will come to this intersection, that's Sherburne and Park. Later on, they will go there and just stop the cars from going any further north. Or at least try to.
Ooh, anti-protesters.
Is that what it is?
It's gotta be in blue.
What's the nurses?
Oh, it is. Healthcare people. Sky 11 to base. Hey, do you see this? Group of healthcare workers?
About a block and a half north.
Yeah, I see it. Great, thank you. You bet.
Standing in the street there.
Cop just letting them.
So what's the nurse's argument? Give us
I have no.
Here's a video from YouTuber Nigel Parry on the ground that day. Right here in this video, Tabby, this guy on foot is about here-ish. Right here, and he's walking in this direction. And so, for some reason, there are nurses that are standing in this loop that you'll see in some of these videos, but here we go.
So there's like 4 hospitals within 2 blocks of this cluster.
Okay, you heard it. There's about 4 hospitals within 2 blocks. He's standing right here. He's looking in this direction, and he's saying that Regions is just over there. Well, it's actually over here, and there was never any traffic in front of that. Then the other hospitals are here and there, certainly more than 2 blocks, and then there's this one over here. So let's go back here to where this guy's already either lying or just grossly misinformed, and let's hear what the nurse has to say. Or the quote-unquote nurse.
Can you tell me why you're here today?
What?
Can you tell me why you're here today?
Well, all the nurses are at all the other hospitals around here, Bethesda, St. Joe's, Regions, and I am here because I wanted to see this for myself and realize people just are totally lost. They're not believing in science. They just want to get their hair cut.
Yeah, and how out of touch is this woman? Whether she's a nurse or not, they just want a haircut. Okay, again, these people want to open their businesses or go to the businesses where they work. All right?
Mm-hmm.
How out of touch is it? Oh, well, they just want to get haircuts. Really? With what money? Okay? Nah. So this woman is saying they are ignoring the science. Well, women, you are ignoring the fact that some of this has to do with principles, the liberty. There's constitutional rights being violated here, and if you let them do it a little, they're just going to keep going. You can't let them get a toe in the door. So you are actually being ignorant, woman.
Gotcha, bitch.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
And they're the first ones who are going to want to have an ICU bed in my hospital when they're sick.
And
So that's why I'm here.
Are you from Regions or Bethesda?
I'm from University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay, cool. We live just next to Bethesda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
We've been calling these guys the Ku Klux Klan.
I know. They are. They really are.
It's
I just saw
unbelievable.
somebody with an assault rifle out the window.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't think you could carry legally in.
You can't. You
No?
can't. You can have a permit to carry, but you can't flash it in public. We're not an open carry state that I know of. I'll have to check on that.
Yeah, no, I would not. I think you can only get a permit to conceal carry.
Right.
But there's even some sort of licensing for that.
Okay.
Yeah, you gonna complain, Karen? You gonna talk to the manager?
I looked into the laws, and actually you can. You can't open carry what they call an assault rifle, but you can have a rifle, like long guns is how they refer to it in their statutes, as well as a handgun and this and that and the other things. So they're wrong about that too.
Gotcha, bitch.
Let's see if there's anything else they want to be wrong about.
For
They're
that.
just, showing off.
Yeah. Well, thanks, folks. We really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, too.
Keep that in mind, folks. Contrast what that woman said, which is basically she stereotyped these people as they just want to get a haircut, and they're ignorant of the science, right? This is basically what she said there. Let's compare that to, let's say, what this woman here, who is protesting against the lockdown, says in this video by RT, by Roughly.
And I'm not going to tell anyone to put their livelihoods more at risk, but I know there's a tipping point. And all I can say that is if you open, I will be there. I think we are on the wrong path for combating this. I don't think that the virus is not real, and I don't dismiss the threat that we have, but I feel that we are putting other lives in danger by trying to protect some, and that's not right.
All right, so this woman's saying, yes, the virus is real, the danger is real, but there's also this other danger of keeping the lockdown going. Mm-hmm. That is what you call moderation, nuance,
Sensibility.
Yeah. This is WCCO, CBS, or Minnesota.
Subtle protest by healthcare workers is happening here outside Regions Hospital.
Silence in their scrubs, a clear enough message from these healthcare workers.
I think it's really frustrating.
Registered nurse Allie Nakasone was among those standing at 12th and Jackson.
And it kind of spiraled into nurses all across the metro that were saying, I want to help.
Nurses also stood in streets outside Bethesda Hospital, a designated COVID-19 treatment center next to the Capitol.
You took an oath to help people and you're not helping people.
If we reopen, we don't have the capacity for like 6,000 ICU beds. We don't have the capacity to do that. We need to be smart about how we reopen.
Now, a few things here. One is that you notice the first nurses they showed were outside Regions Hospital Again, Regions Hospital is all the way over here. They mentioned she was at 12th and Jackson, I believe, which is right here. And in all the helicopter video I could see, there's no convoy within a few blocks of that. Again, the convoy ended right here and looped back around again. Alrighty, so they were basically standing out there facing down no one.
Gotcha, bitch.
You know, they're the people they want to face down were many blocks away. So some of the nurses, again, went to this loop. You could see, for example, in this video right here where I paused it. All right, you see this building right here, Tabby?
Yeah.
That is right here. That's that building right there, right?
Yeah.
And we are in the loop. So they went to the convoy. This is where the convoy went around before they turned around and went back the other way. While still in the horseshoe shape.
This has nothing to do with the shit that they're bitching about. This is all about look at us.
Right. So these are in none of these news reports seem to clarify that where you see these anti-lockdown protesters with their signs facing off against these nurses, apparently, it's where the nurses are. The nurses that went to the convoy. Okay, these people didn't go to the hospital with their signs and their flags.
Nope.
It's the other way around.
Nope.
Gotcha, bitch.
Okay, from wherever
oh my God, they're not near the hospital. Well, let's go to them.
So I just want to point that out. All right, folks, let's quickly review. It's Going Down tries to make you think that there were these libertarian fascists with guns trying to intimidate people. And then we find out actually the only credible evidence is that the exact opposite is true, is that they were armed leftists, one of which you could say kind of went over to intimidate the quote-unquote fascist media. So, gotcha, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The article also mentioned the emergency room being blocked over at Bethesda Hospital. We found out that is not true. Gotcha, bitch. We also found out there was no traffic at Regions Hospital where there was an intensive care unit or where there was an emergency room. Again, gotcha, bitch. And then we have this leftist guy who may or may not be involved in It's Going Down in Antifa saying, there are 4 hospitals within 2 blocks of the Capitol here in danger of being blocked by traffic. Wrong. None of that is true. Gotcha, bitch. Then you got this nurse saying, it's not legal for them to open carry, and then the guy with the camera is like, yeah, I know, they're not allowed to do that. Looked it up. They're wrong. Gotcha, bitch. They were trying to, these right-wing terrorists were stopping the hospitals. They were there with their guns, intimidating people and scaring them and telling them to get back to work. So wait, they were stopping them from working, but they were commanding them to go to work with their guns. They're the working class. They're not the working class. We are for the working class, but the working class are Nazis. You have no fucking clue.
No, they don't.
Wow. All right. So, yeah, you're literally siding with the government that you yourself say is fascist or Nazi. And you're literally arguing against the working class. And you're arguing against the freedom that they want to reclaim. And yet somehow you're quote-unquote anti-fascist. So, folks, be sure to see the series that we have. I think I call it the American Liberty versus the Gov's Tyrannical Shutdown. And we have episode 1 out. And even though our channel's had 5.5 million views, and one of our videos had, I think, 2.25 million views, something like that, our latest video on this series, because of the subject matter, is limited to the point where we've had about 700 views on it. It's probably really bad for our channel, but that's not why I do it. It's more important to me to get the information out there than to be popular. So there you go, folks. Thank you for watching. Please consider donating to our subscribe stars. See the links below. Yada yada. Please subscribe to Tabby's channel. Please subscribe to Patriot Warrior Media's YouTube channel. See the links below for everything. You know how it goes. Till next time, liberty, strength, integrity, honor, justice, truth, love. Whoa!
Sorry. I tried to hold it. It wasn't.
We'll just end the video with that then.